Welcome to the Cannabis Regulation Commission meeting. Today is Thursday, May 7th, 2026, and the time is 2:15 p.m. We are not at City Hall. Well, we are in City Hall. Oh, you have it right. I'm sorry. We are at City Hall, 200 North Spring Street, room 401, Los Angeles, California. I am Vice President David Nash, and I'm temporarily filling in for President Mason, who should be present momentarily. The following commissioners are present: Commissioners Berman, Farmby, and McGovern. I'm going to go over some housekeeping items before we get started. This meeting is being recorded. Therefore, we ask that when addressing the commission, you speak close to the microphone and only one person speaks at a time. Please state your name each time you speak. That also applies to the commissioners. This meeting is also being live streamed. Individuals who wish to watch and listen to the meeting may do so by visiting cannabis.lacity.gov. We will be following the agenda order for the most part. Agendas are located on the table by the entrance door along with speaker cards. Individuals who wish to address this commission must fill out a speaker's card and specify which item or items you're going to speak on. Individuals can provide public comment or comments about a specific agenda item. Please fill out a speaker card and turn it into Irene or Josie. When I call your name, please come up to the podium and clearly state your name. We will consider general public comment and single or multiple agenda items together. Therefore, speakers will have 1 minute for general public comment and 1 minute per item, with a maximum of 2 minutes for multiple items. In total, an individual speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes of public comment per meeting. We ask that speakers state whether they are providing general public comment and or which other item or items they are speaking on before they begin to comment. This is so that staff can appropriately time them. If the speaker does not specify which items they are speaking on, 1 minute will be provided. Representatives from neighborhood councils who have filed a resolution or community impact statement with the city clerk which relates to any agenda item will be given time to speak during the item itself. Please provide a copy of the filed statement or resolution to the commission executive assistant. Any neighborhood council representative speaking on behalf of their neighborhood council must provide a letter on their letterhead stating the neighborhood council's position on the matter. Absent any neighborhood council documentation, comments may still be provided during the public comment period. PowerPoint presentations presented to the commission today will be posted online and made available to the public via DCR's website within 2 business days. Please turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate so as to not disturb the proceedings. Please be respectful. Disruptions will not be tolerated. I am designating authority to issue warnings to for public disruptions to the city attorney in order to preserve decorum and help maintain order in the meeting. If you disrupt the proceedings, you will receive 2 warnings. If you continue the disruptive behavior, you will be asked to leave the meeting. Item number 1, we will now open general public comment and single or multiple agenda items. Speakers can address the commission on non-agenda related items that are within the jurisdiction of the commission or provide public comment for items in today's agenda. And I have Daniel Sosa.
Please state your name and which items you're speaking on.
I'm speaking on general public comment.
Okay, you have 1 minute.
Just give me one. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw my email from last night, but I think it's important to start, having consistent conversations about when exactly the tax amnesty program is going to go into effect and what that's going to look like, what the details of that ordinance are going to look like. So I'm just curious about that, where that stands, if anybody wants to bring that up as a subject. I mean, currently the economic conditions in the city are that no cannabis business is incentivized to pay tax. The city's continuing to renew licenses for businesses that owe millions of dollars in back taxes. People that are good actors and do want to comply and pay taxes know that there's a tax amnesty program. So they are basically going to get a 0% interest-free loan from the city. So they're not incentivized to pay tax. Obviously, illegal dispensaries don't pay tax. So the economic
Thank you. Your time
conditions,
is up.
are really not good for the city and for the cannabis businesses both. So we really got to address that, figure it out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Both the general public comment agenda item and the single or multiple agenda item periods are now closed. Item number 2. Elected office, neighborhood council, and other public entity presentations. This is a reminder that any representative neighborhood councils who have filed a resolution or a community impact statement with the city clerk which relates to any agenda item will be given time to speak during the item itself. Please provide a copy of the filed statement or resolution to the commission executive assistant. Any neighborhood council speaking on behalf of their neighborhood council must provide a letter on their letterhead stating the neighborhood council's position on the matter. Absent any neighborhood council documentation, comments may still be provided during the public comment period. Moving on to item number 3, commission business. Commissioners, you should have an advanced calendar in front of you with our future meeting dates. Please take a look and let me know if there are any planned absences from any of the commissioners.
This is Commissioner Bierman. I will regrettably be out of town for both June 4th and June 18th.
Any other planned absences? Moving on to approval of minutes. We were sent the minutes of April 2, 2026 for review. Before I ask for a motion, there are a couple of corrections. The first is item number, well, it's item number 3, the approval of the minutes of March 5, 2026. The minutes correctly state that Commissioner Nash seconded the motion, but when counting the vote, it incorrectly states that Bierman seconded it. So the correction would be to indicate that Commissioner Nash was the one that actually seconded the motion. The second correction is on item number 6, regarding who was in attendance. Currently, it indicates that Juan Garcia was representing Urban Smoke LA LLC, and it should reflect Juan Garcia was representing Resource Referral Services, Inc. So with those 2 corrections in mind, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
This is Commissioner Farm. Do you have a point of clarification, a question? The corrections that you were speaking of, is that related to the April 2nd meeting or the March 5th meeting?
The April 2nd meeting.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
This is Commissioner McGovern. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 2nd, 2026 as amended.
Is there a second? Vice President Nash will second it. Would you please call the roll?
Commissioner McGovern,
Aye.
Vice President Nash,
Aye.
Commissioner Farmby,
As Commissioner Farmby, I was not present at the meeting but I did review the link, and so aye.
Commissioner Bierman,
This is Commissioner Bierman. Similarly, I did not attend the meeting, but I did review the audio of the meeting and minutes. So I vote to approve the minutes.
thank you. The motion passes.
Moving on to commission announcements and updates. Commissioners, are there any announcements or updates?
This is City Attorney Allison Toll. Commissioner Mason has entered the room and will be taking her place at the dais.
Moving on to future agenda requests. Commissioners, are there any future agenda requests?
This is Commissioner McGovern. I'd like to get an update on the status of the tax amnesty program at our next meeting, please.
May I chime in on that? Okay. Am I allowed to? Council?
So that's at the discretion of the
Okay.
commissioners.
About a week and a half ago, Rocky and I invited the architect of that program to come and speak at this meeting. Alas, they have yet to finish the report for this program, which includes multiple details about the program, including, what are going to be the perks, what's going to be the payment timeline, et cetera. So he told me that he would not be attending until after they finish the report. I asked when that would be. That was not provided. So I will let you know when he confirms. Office of Finance is taking the lead on this report. So I would prefer if Office of Finance can come and discuss it, if you don't mind.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any other future agenda requests? Moving on to commission discussion of CF 26-0124, which is a motion for the city attorney to prepare an ordinance that establishes a requirement for type 10 retail cannabis license application to include letters of support from the corresponding neighborhood council, the relevant council office, LAPD, and a community-based organization that serves the community where the cannabis business would operate before licensee approval. This is a standing item we have, so I will inquire of the commissioners if they have anything that they want to say about this motion at this time.
As Commissioner Bierman, it looks like hasn't really moved. The council file suggests that it's in the same place that it's been. So suggest we just keep monitoring it.
Okay. Moving on to item number 4, report from the executive director. Is there a report?
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you guys very much. Happy to have you guys all here. It's a special treat. Thank you for the folks in attendance, and thank you for the folks who are joining us by phone or on Zoom. My name is Michelle Garakian. I am the Executive Director of the Los Angeles Department of Cannabis Regulation, and I'm here to provide my Executive Director report. As mentioned in the agenda, I'm going to give you guys a brief update on the DCR's 26-27 budget requests. These are loose details in front of you, so I'm going to go into more detail in my remarks. Our first request of this mayor and now of the council, and if I could just give some, am I okay to keep going? If I could just give some background on the budget process, the mayor dropped her budget on April 20th. It's no coincidence. And since then, it has been in the city council's hands, specifically the city council budget and finance committee. They are currently downstairs meeting on it as we speak. We had our hearing with the budget and finance committee last Thursday afternoon. I believe it went well. We had 2 members ask for multiple budget memos, which is a good thing. It is asking the chief accounting office or the CAO to report back on the possibility of our requests. That budget memo was combined into one singular memo, and it was submitted by the CAO last night, and the Budget and Finance Committee is going to hopefully be considering it today. I believe as of a minute ago, they were currently on police, so they went in reverse. So they started with the zoo this morning, and they are ending with, I think, aging. So we are going to be third to last. Hopefully, we're not here all night, but I will be downstairs after this lobbying our Budget and Finance Committee for our request. So I'm going to go into our requests now that you guys know the process. Our first request was to transfer cost of our compliance and enforcement investigative unit to the general fund to focus on cost recovery, to focus on public safety without constraints. We have approximated that the full cost of an inspection is around $16,000 as a full cost recovery department. This puts us in between a rock and hard place. We either charge struggling businesses this amount, whether it results in a violation or not, or we limit the amount of hours an investigator can spend performing an investigation. Our investigative unit is the only unit within the city of Los Angeles that is mandated to be full cost recovery, which obviously is a hindrance and places undue burdens on our licensees and public safety. We essentially ask the council to consider divorcing us from our special fund and allowing the general fund to cover any investigative enforcement related costs. Next, to bring down overall costs and delays associated with our accounts receivable, we are requesting a position authority for a principal accountant to bring our financial services in-house. Not only will this reduce our external expenses, but this will reduce payment processing time significantly. And as we do every year, we are also requesting a $1.5 million general fund investment in the social equity program to continue supporting services provided to our most vulnerable entrepreneurs and continue providing services such as free and low-cost legal assistance, business coaching, and various educational opportunities. Lastly, DCR is asking the council to further reduce our external expenditures totaling $1.5 million for external city agencies such as the city clerk, personnel, and LAPD for various services which we deem no longer necessary. I have a question for you guys. Do you want me to go through the whole presentation and save your questions, or do you want me to pause and ask questions as I'm going through each point? I'm happy to just keep going and then till you guys raise your hand.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Cool. All right, I am going to transition over to the rescheduling of medical cannabis. On April 23rd, following a directive from acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche, the DOJ and the DEA signed an order to reschedule cannabis, but limited the scope to cannabis products for medicinal use only. It left out recreational cannabis, which continues to be a Schedule I drug. The initial Schedule III change applies specifically to state license medical cannabis. It is not clear at this time how federal regulators will treat California's cannabis license program. The sign order also does not provide definitive guidance on 280E that could allow for business deductions for medical cannabis businesses. DCC, and this is important based on the last comment, DCC announced that it has streamlined the process for allowing changes or additions. I believe, Rochelle, perfect, you're on the right slide. DCC announced that it has streamlined the process for allowing changes or additions to license designation from adult use to medicinal use, but are not currently advising if a business should participate in the federal medical cannabis program. Licensed medical cannabis businesses must register with the DEA. The DEA may act as a broker between manufacturers and retailers per the ruling. And the federal program requires a prescription for patients to purchase medicinal cannabis. Federal expedited admin hearings for further rescheduling related to recreational cannabis is set for late June 2026. I will likely come back to this commission and report back on the contents of that hearing. Moving on to our legislative update. On the legislative side, I have 3 items I want to bring to your attention. Council File 26-0301 concerning opening cultivation and delivery licensing to the general public was submitted by Councilmember Padilla in March 2026. DCR has recently submitted a report in support of the motion, seeking to open up both license types to the general public. You may find our report in the council file at this time. Council File 25-1126 regarding updating our good standing provision to ensure people who enter into a payment plan are considered in good standing, clarifying renewal periods, clarifying renewal periods to remove COVID-19 era second late renewal window, and addressing back owed taxes through payment plans is currently in the hands of the city attorney at this time. If you'd like to understand anything else about that particular policy, you may go into the council file. There is a lot to read. Lastly, DCR is closely following State Bill AB 2697 that would authorize local jurisdictions to allow drive-through windows. This bill has passed the Assembly Business and Profession Committee and was re-referred to Appropriations. Missing from this slide is obviously the tax amnesty program, which we discussed earlier on. We have invited a representative from Office of Finance to join us at a future meeting to talk about this program when the details have been outlined in a report and submitted to the council file. Next slide, please. Division updates. Licensing. We have our licensing division, along with this commission, congratulations, has been working so diligently over the past year, and I'm happy to report that we have less than 7 retail and less than 30 non-retail annual applications in the pipeline. I want to thank my team and I want to thank this commission for the literal hundreds of hours of work poured into this process. I also want to announce here that all DCR fees now may be paid online. All of them. This has taken a lot of coordination. Thank you to everyone involved. We started having conversations about this back in 2020. Currently, our licensing team is preparing for the upcoming renewal cycle in September. I know it may seem far away, but a lot of prep goes into it. I want to say that there's likely going to be some changes to the requirements for the 27 renewal process. So please stay engaged. Please read the emails that we sent you. I know we send a lot because people ask us to be more communicative, but please stay engaged for more information. Our compliance and enforcement team has been hard at work performing inspections, ensuring that our licensed locations are safe not only for consumers, but employees alike. This division has completed a total of 199 inspections as of last week. Next slide, please. Continuing with our division updates, moving on to social equity, our team is working on a community outreach plan to develop personalized assistance for our social equity individual applicants and meet them where they are at this process. The team has already been reaching out to applicants and licensees. We are hoping that through this initiative, we can provide them with more personalized assistance. The idea behind this is we have provided a variety of resources for our individual or social equity individual applicants. And we'd laid them on a table. At this point, you know, folks are so busy. They're dealing with a lot of issues. They're dealing with their businesses. They're dealing with taxes. They're dealing with a variety of different things. It's important now to start bringing these resources to them, not waiting for them to come to us. And so that is what this program is going to focus on. Social Equity has also been working on a Day in the Life series with our operators intended to showcase a day in the life of a dispensary owner, what it takes to run a dispensary, how they run their business, and overall give a deeper insight into the intricacies of those businesses. SEP is also working on putting together in-person events that are going to be coming in summer 2026. And lastly, Dr. Brown is in Sacramento today talking at the Cannabis Management Core 2026 Summit about building legacy and restoring opportunity. With that, that is the end of my presentation. I welcome any questions.
Are there any questions?
Thank you, Director, for their report. It's Commissioner Farmby. I had a question regarding the rescheduling of the municipal use of for the state. What does that mean for local?
You know, we were just on a call with the state yesterday, our first call, really trying to understand this. And at this point, the department no longer differentiates between medicinal and recreational. People are allowed to choose it on our Acela platform. And it is important when we relay that information back to the Office of Finance because there's a different tax rate for medicinal here in Los Angeles, 5% for medicinal and 10% for recreational. However, we're still working the details out with the DCC at this time, but it's most likely the feds are going to be taking their cues from the state licensing agency. So if you are not a registered medicinal operator through the state, you need to change that if you want to be. So, and I think we included a little information about that in our recent email report that we sent, but I can check. Not sure if that answers your question, but it's very complicated and a bit nebulous at this time. We're really all trying to figure it out, especially the 280E stuff. That's very important to this community. It's very important to us that our community takes advantage of that. And the IRS has also not revealed any guidance on that at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is President Mason. My apologies for my tardiness. So, Michelle, I'm hearing what you're saying. There's a 5% tax gap between recreational and medicinal, so it automatically makes the market lopsided for recreational cannabis operators. So was there any discussion about how to equalize the playing field if this continues to move forward?
All of this was outlined in Measure M. So, and that was set by edict through a local ballot initiative. I believe conversations to equalizing and or lowering tax rates locally are taking place in the Government and Operations Committee that actually convenes here every first Tuesday of the month. From what I have heard, that when the tax amnesty program and the good standing report are scheduled in Go Committee, they will begin a further conversation about taxation. So.
Okay, but wouldn't federal regulations preempt all of that?
I don't know. We will see.
We're not that far ahead.
Yeah, again, the IRS has not weighed in on 280, which is likely means they have not weighed in on tax rates. I mean, there are some operators in the room that could probably tell you a little bit more about cannabis income tax, federal cannabis income tax.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. I think it's great that all fees can be paid online now. I'm sure that was a lot of work went into making that happen. I'm just curious if, sometimes there's an extra, like a small percentage or surcharges for paying online. Is there anything like that? Or is it the same if you were to pay by mail or in person?
You know what? I am actually going to pass that question along to my colleague, Ryan, So Lise, who is sitting behind me, he is the one that made this possible. So Ryan, do you mind coming up here and answering that question?
Hello, this is Senior Management Analyst Ryan Solis. It's a good question. There are multiple payment options available. Credit card, debit card is one of those. And the Office of Finance that actually handles the website that processes our online payments, there is surcharges related to those. They do offer, however, e-check and like direct deposit through not direct deposit, but you know what I mean, going directly through the bank to pay the fees, and that does not incur any type of surcharge.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
I appreciate it. That was a great question, Commissioner. Thank you for asking that. Glad we were able to clarify it.
This is Commissioner Bierman. I don't have any questions, but I wanted to thank you for the report. It was very informative.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and we try to make this as concise as possible. But I'm always here and available if you guys have any questions. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Hi, President Mason again. Wanted to revisit the transferal of the cost of inspections to the general fund. Is there any concern about how doing that will impact the inspection frequency?
So I want to tread carefully because we are currently in the middle of these budget hearings. I mean, I don't think anybody from the Budget and Finance Committee staff is listening to this, so I'm just going to go for it. I will say at this time, let me start by saying that we charge an annual compliance inspection fee. That what I've been informed, approximately about 80% of our licensees have paid thus far. So we are doing our annual compliance inspections every single day. As you heard in my report, 199 have been completed thus far. So we also get complaints about licensed businesses through our complaint portal. So if we receive a complaint about a licensed business that is doing something that is out of compliance, and or we are conducting a compliance inspection and we find that a business is operating out of compliance, that is, if it's egregious, that is when an investigation will begin at that moment. We have 2 special investigators on staff. These folks are trained to do investigations. Some of them have law enforcement background. And we also have a deputy city attorney, Emily Wada, who also subs for this council sometimes, that often end up following up on the legal due process end of that investigation. These investigations take time. Like LAPD, it is very difficult to say, okay, a crime, I'm saying crime in quotes, a crime has been committed, you only have 2 hours to do this investigation. And so I don't like to, nor do I think it is appropriate to put time limits on an investigation that it puts any sort of public health at risk. So transferring these costs to the general fund means that I no longer have to make hard decisions about the length of an investigation depending on its severity. And it's not hard decisions I'm making now because we have only had a few investigations so far, but as a cost recovery department, this is something that is going to cost our applicants and licensees funding. And so transferring, if that makes any sense, transferring these costs to the general fund means the general fund covers the cost of the employees associated with these investigations. And it means that they can spend as much time as they need to do said investigations to ensure that the licensee is receiving due process if in any case, this ends up going to a notice of revocation, which means that we would revoke a license based on the information and the evidence that we have. So kind of a roundabout answer, but hopefully that answers your questions. I think this request allows us to be more thorough. It allows us to do things without having that challenge over our head of how are we going to pay for this? So and whether or not, I guess, not how we're going to pay for this, but more or less the money that has been procured is enough to support a robust investigation that provides evidence during, a potential revocation appeal hearing. So
Thank you for clarifying, and I applaud you all for your courage for this ask.
indeed,
Considering that the general fund is
yeah, it's a tough year,
is what it is. Yeah.
but it's kind of something you have to go for.
Mhm.
To be honest, this is the keynote that is very important. We're the only agency in the city that actually has a model like this. That's full cost recovery. At DBS, their code enforcement section is completely subsidized by the general fund. Because when you are going to have a code inspector go out there and, determine whether or not a building is unsafe, you can't just say, oh, I'm sorry, you only have an hour to review that. They need to do their work. Same like our investigators need to do their work. So we're not asking for anything that's different in the city. We're asking for consideration of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This Vice President Nash, you mentioned that there's an annual compliance inspection fee,
Yes, sir.
and that's charged of each operator every year.
Indeed.
And how much is that?
It's approximately, I'm saying approximately $4,500. And we have waivers to offset that for social equity applicants who pay about half that, $2,500.
And then you mentioned, I heard the number $16,000. Is that an average? What does that number represent in connection with the cost of inspection?
Do you mind if I bring my director of compliance and enforcement, Rocky Wiles, up here to answer these questions? I want you guys to have the best information. And Rocky lives and breathes this. Sorry, Rocky. And thank you for your flexibility.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Rocky Wiles with the Compliance and Enforcement Division for DCR.
Thank you. So I was asking about the number of $16,000 in connection with compliance inspections. What exactly is that figure? Is it an average of what is that?
The 1,600, I'm sorry,
16,000, I thought it was.
16. What is
Cost per
Average
inspection.
cost for the inspection.
It's not necessarily inspection.
in an
it's
investigation?
investigation.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, the compliance inspections have a flat fee. I think Ms. Gorakian correctly stated it was about $4,500. That's the compliance inspection flat fee. Investigations, it's really hard to put a dollar amount because some might be as simple as confirming a very simple complaint, whereas others like, if there's allegations of diversion, we have to go into their metric accounts. We sometimes have to do surveillance. And together with that, when you get into an appeal hearing, we just recently had an appeal hearing where it kept getting continued. And every time, you continue a hearing and my staff has to attend, that's a whole day of my staff's time, my time, the hearing officer's time. And it could, we can rack up a bill up to, $50,000 for one case. So it's really, really hard to put a price on an enforcement action. We don't know where it's going to lead. It could be a few $100s to thousands.
Thank you. This is Vice President Nash again. So what I'm hearing, that 16,000 figure, that is completely unrelated to annual compliance inspections.
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
They were kind of used interchangeably. So
My apologies. Yeah.
confused.
This is a fee that will be charged to a licensee who has been the subject of a complaint or we've done an annual compliance inspection and identified nasty things happening there.
Let me just close by, I want to also, as part of what we do in enforcement, where my staff could be conducting compliance inspections. They could be going into a facility that has, distribution, manufacturing, cultivation, and they walk in and they might see a lot of product that's untraced. And so when we see that, we can't just walk away from that. So now we have to get everybody, hands on deck. We have to inventory everything. We had one location where we spent, and my entire staff was there for 6 hours because we have to inventory. We can't just leave the product that, is not sourced. Eventually, the licensee had to destroy all that product and we had to go back to observe the destruction. So it's very involved. It takes a lot of enforcement actions and time and investigations.
Thank you very much. No other questions?
I do.
If I could just
Yep.
chime in here, once we have identified that there may be a problem here, the licensee is charged a code violation inspection fee and or a license non-compliance inspection fee. Now, when Rocky was talking about, and that's the 16,000 I'm talking about. Now, we may go in there, we've maybe identified something that is suspect. We go in there and it's maybe not as bad as we thought. It's $16,000. That's going to put someone out. However, if we have charged them that fee and then we go in there and we identify this is very bad, at some times, as Rocky mentioned, we're spending more than $16,000. We're spending $54,000 doing a proper investigation. When you guys ask why we made this request to the mayor and to the city council, it's because we oftentimes don't know what the cost of that investigation will be. If the general fund is covering that cost, that means that it takes the burden off of the applicant and the licensee, and it takes the burden off of our investigators, giving them the freedom to do the right type of investigation without time limits. So just want to clarify that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, it's very interchangeable, all this stuff. I'll try to use the correct nomenclature moving forward.
Thank you. This is Commissioner Farmby. I had a couple of questions in the comment, but specifically on this one. Thanks, Michelle, for the clarification. I think I'm following. I got my head wrapped around it. I do have a question regarding, I know we're dealing with the right now in terms of the costs and being able to have the ability to fully and confidently kind of do the investigation. Is there any concern by you or anyone on the team around the impact of what transferring over to general fund could mean regarding budget cuts and impacts? Does that impact the request at all? Meaning, for an example, if the city goes through a process and whichever mayor and any leadership of city council, oh, well, we're going to cut X, Y, and Z, and we happen to fit into that cut.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any concerns around how that would impact your ability of what you're trying to accomplish with the investigations, and have you all thought about what that means?
Sure. I'll start by saying that we are currently not supported by the general fund. So I'm asking for them to consider it. So at this point, I'm working from nothing, asking for something, but still at nothing. So the impact of not receiving this request continues to put us in a very challenging situation.
Mm-hmm.
Very challenging situation. Something that we are going, if, for example, hypothetically, if the budget memo that the council, the Budget and Finance Committee downstairs is in front of them, if they do not put this budget memo in their rack up, which is what they do, they identify what their priorities are right now based on the report back from the CAO. There are a few more bites at the apple, but it just gets much dicier. If the budget process goes through, nothing happens, nothing is given to us, none of our requests are approved, and the mayor signs the budget as is, then I will have to go back to the drawing table during our review of our future fee study to do a broader analysis of what this $16,000 fee should be based on reality, right? We came up with this number based on experience. And that experience has grown. It's become much more realistic because we are dealing with some really interesting operators doing some very suspect things. And so this last investigation was a perfect example. So what it means is the impact, sir, is going to be that I will have to figure out what is going to be the appropriate fee to charge the licensee who we've identified as potentially being in trouble during the next fee study. And so that is the impact. Yeah, so I'm really praying that after this meeting, I can go downstairs and I can look folks in the eye and beg, pretty much.
This is Commissioner Bierman, just one thought on that. I mean, obviously you are best positioned to deliver the message, but I feel like it is a compelling message if we're talking about, you know, not hamstringing investigations, and like the integrity of the process is so important. And so I feel like folks should get that and should see that as a priority for making this whole thing work.
Yeah, I agree. But it's really difficult where, you know, the mayor and the council have so many different priorities, but you said it really eloquently. I mean, I don't want to risk the integrity of the investigation or this process, and that is why we're making this request.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for these questions.
No, thank you. I just had, okay. I just had one question on Assembly Bill 2697. I don't know if this is appropriate, President or Vice President, who's ever, regarding like kind of getting an update on this next month. Because I know that this was under item number 3. And I didn't have any thoughts about it at the time, but considering the executive director's report, I think it would be something that we should kind of keep our eye on. And I'm assuming, Michelle, this is for the type 10 retail only, or is there other?
Yeah, it would be for, well, they don't call it type 10. We do. But yeah, retail and non-retail storefront.
And
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I will say when things go to appropriations committee after they've left their committee, that's a very telling signal
Yeah.
of what's going to happen with the bill.
Yeah. No, I can agree, and I attest to that. Yeah. I stay close to this stuff. And then I think my last, if I may, is just a request regarding the rescheduling of affairs with the state. I think it would be good for us to kind of understand and know.
You know what? I'm going to interrupt you.
Oh.
So we're going to close out the executive report because you're not asking.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and then so thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
And then let's reopen commission business item number 3. And please make any future agenda requests that you want.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. For the protocol. This is Commissioner Farnby. I'm requesting under item number 3 for future agenda items that the commission receive an update at least next month regarding Assembly Bill 2697, just so we can understand and know the impact it's going to be. And in addition to that, on next month to receive an update on the rescheduling of the medicinal kind of use of cannabis use, so that we can monitor this, because it definitely will have an impact. We just don't know yet. So I think it would be good for us to know and to be informed as much as possible.
Very well.
Thank you very much. We will then reclose item number 3 and move on to item number 5. DCR Core Record number 120611. The applicant is Silver Lake Caregivers Group to approve an annual license for storefront retail commercial cannabis activity located at 2715 North Fruitdale Street. Ms. Trezo, are there any neighborhood council or elected office representatives on this item?
No, we did not receive a community impact statement.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from department staff.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ryan Solis, Senior Management Analyst in the Licensing Division. I'll be presenting item number 5 for DCR. Thank you. DCR Core Record number 120611 is associated with Silver Lake Caregivers Group. The applicant seeks an annual license for the Type 10 retail storefront commercial cannabis activity. The business is located at 2715 North Fruitdale Street, and that's located in the Silver Lake Echo Park Elysian Valley Community Plan area within Council District 13. For some additional context and background on this record, the applicant had their original annual license application under DCR Core Record number 10061, 611, excuse me, approved by this body in July of 2024. The location at that time was 2470 Fletcher Drive. After requesting to relocate to the 2715 North Fruitdale, a new annual license application under DCR Core Record number 110611 was again approved by this body in February of 2025. And now here we are today. The applicant is once again seeking approval of an annual license application from this body under DCR Core Record number 120611 after undergoing a 100% ownership transfer. The applicant has not yet been issued temporary approval by DCR, but they have completed all requirements for the issuance of an annual license in accordance with LAMC Section 10406. The applicant does not currently possess an active state license and is not subject to the requirements of LAMC Section 10420 related to the social equity program. On or about March 24th, 2026, DCR provided notice of the community meeting and this Cannabis Regulation Commission meeting by mail to the owners and occupants of all property within 700 feet of the property line. Notice was provided in accordance with the LAMC. DCR then held a virtual community meeting on April 21st, 2026, and accepted online written input through this date. During the meeting, members of the public were afforded 2 minutes each to speak about the application. DCR received just one oral testimony regarding this application. The testimony provided was in favor of the application and was provided from a representative of the applicant. The representative stated that the Silver Lake Caregivers Group has served its community for many years and looks forward to continuing to do so at its new location while maintaining a clean, attractive environment for its neighbors and community, and also strictly prohibiting loitering in and around the premises. They also shared that Silver Lake's owner is dedicated to continuing the legacy of her late husband to operate a respected and compliant business in the community where they have lived and raised their children. DCR did not receive any written testimonies for this application. DCR did, however, receive a complaint regarding the applicant's business premises. The complaint alleged some noise disturbances and loitering coming from the property after scheduled operating hours. DCR's Compliance and Enforcement Division did investigate this complaint on April 22nd. DCR representatives did not observe any noise disturbances and confirmed the site to be non-operational. If the commission has any questions about this complaint and investigation, DCR does have representation available today from the Compliance Division to provide additional comment. With all that, and based on the department's analysis, the proposed project is consistent with the criteria for a Class 1 and Class 32 categorical exemption pursuant to CEQA guidelines. Since the project meets all of the requirements and none of the applicable exceptions apply, it is appropriate to determine this project is categorically exempt. DCR finds the application to be in compliance with LAMC 10406. Therefore, DCR recommends the commission adopt the recommendations included in this staff report and approve the issuance of this annual license. That concludes the department's presentation for this item.
Thank you very much. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the department?
Thank you. Mr. Commissioner Farnaby. Ryan, you had mentioned that there was a 100% transfer of ownership. Was that from husband to wife?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And when was that? Do we know when?
I could look back on it. I don't have that information available.
Not that important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly can get back to you on that.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. And now we will hear from the applicant. Will the applicant's representative please approach the podium? And please state your name for the record and your relationship to the applicant. Please speak directly into the microphone. You have 10 minutes. And I have speaker cards for Erica Stein and Molly Pitluck.
Hi, I'm Molly Pitluck. Nice to meet you.
Ma'am, can you speak a little bit louder? We can't hear.
Yeah, my name is Molly. I represent Silver Lake Caregivers Group. As Ryan stated, this application has been before the commission. This is the third time now. The first time was a relocation for Mr. Toby Stein. I was very blessed to be able to work with Toby Stein for about 7 years and his amazing wife, Erica, who's here with me today. Toby passed away last April. Erica, as his wife, community property and heir, inherited the business. That is the explanation for the 100% ownership change. Erica was by Toby's side all the years that he owned his shop, which is a pre-ICO initially. In 2019, we got Toby verified as a social equity applicant with the DCR. So from 2019 on, he was also a verified social equity applicant. Prior to his death, he was in the process of trying to convert this pre-ICO license into a social equity license. Erica is not eligible for that, his wife. But she has also been in the industry for many years by his side. It was very important to them that their shops was in the community, in the same community where they lived, and they raised their 4 children together. At this point, Erica has taken over, and we are going through this licensing process together. Importantly, she meets all the criteria for this license to be approved by the commission and the DCR. As stated, the location itself has already been approved. CEQA had already been approved. The reason we are here today is because it is technically 100% ownership change due to Toby's death. Erica has taken over the business with the approval of DCR. She's dedicated to continuing the legacy of her husband to operate a respected and compliant business in the community where they have raised their children. She worked alongside him since 2007 in the industry and considers it an honor to have the opportunity to continue the business they created together for many years. As stated at the community meeting, Erica knows all the rules and will follow them. They will show a strong security presence and strictly prohibit consumption, littering, and loitering at the licensed premises to deter crime and nuisance in the area. I apologize because this was the first that I have heard about the complaint. The store is not open. Apparently there was some noise. I've just been advised there was some noise out there caused by unrelated people to the premises and to Erica. The police came, Erica spoke to them about it, and they left. Again, it has not been open yet. She is in the process of working on a new state license, which is required when you have a death or 100% ownership change. Very important here and to you is that Silver Lake meets all the criteria for issuance of its annual license under Erica as a 100% owner. Though the business is not yet open, Silver Lake has never denied the DCR access to the premises, failed an inspection by any agency, been denied a license, or engaged in unlicensed commercial cannabis activity. In fact, they did pass their pre-licensing inspection with the DCR. Erica has always provided the DCR with timely and truthful responses to requested information, forms, and documents, and follow the requirements of all applicable laws at their old location and continuing at their new. Nothing has changed here really, except since this application was filed and approved by the commission, except for the ownership changing 100% to Toby's wife. None of the business premises denial reasons apply to Silver Lake under the Los Angeles Municipal Code either. They fully comply with all land use and zoning requirements. We're located in Silver Lake Echo Park Elysian Valley Community Plan area, which has not reached undue concentration. Erica does not hold any office in any agency of the state or city related to cannabis. As approved by DCR, there's not been a conviction related to the licensed premise, nor a utility shut off, or related to the parcel in the past 5 years. None of the ownership, denial, or disqualification of primary personnel reasons apply to Silver Lake either. The sole owner now, Erica, does not have a disqualifying conviction, and she has not received a disqualifying civil judgment concerning illegal commercial cannabis activity. Based upon the foregoing, Silver Lake Caregivers Group, Erica, and I ask that you help us in honoring Toby's legacy and respectfully request that you approve the issuance of the annual license so she can continue his legacy in the neighborhood and community where they raise their children. And please let me know.
I do. Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. And I just want to send my condolences to you, Erica. I'm sorry for your loss. I do have one question regarding the business. I heard that you mentioned that it wasn't open yet.
That's
Do you have any idea of when you're expecting to get your business off the ground?
No. Things have been significantly delayed because unfortunately Toby's death was very unexpected.
Yeah.
And they have 4 children. 3 of them are still in the house. We're working toward it hard, but not right now. We don't.
Okay. Well, sending you the best of luck.
Thank you.
In this journey. And thank you for being here and answering the question.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Ms. Stein, did you want to speak as well? Thank you. No other questions for the applicant? Okay. Then we can open deliberations. I'll go. We've approved them multiple times and it seems like they're going to be excellent operators. So I would be inclined to move on to a motion if nobody else has anything. Is there a motion?
I'll do it. Okay, this is Commissioner Farmby regarding item number 5, DCR Core Record number 120611. The applicant is Silver Lake Caregivers Group in the community plan area of Silver Lake. The business premise is 2715 North Fruitdale Street. I move a motion to accept the staff's recommendation as stated in the report.
This is President Mason. I second.
Ms. Treviso, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Farmby,
Aye.
President Mason,
Aye.
Commissioner Bierman,
Aye.
Commissioner McGovern,
Aye.
Vice President Nash.
Aye.
The motion passes.
And having concluded our business, the meeting is now adjourned. The time is 3:19.